Shalom, and Sister Ripka,
and Sister Zion.
and welcome to The Rock. Today we're going to be showing you a simple bread recipe that you can make any day. Also, if you're into preparedness, these will be ingredients that you would have on hand. Um, and Sister Zion will be showing you how to make it and showing you the ingredients that we're using.
Okay, so right here in this container we have flour, salt, oil, and this is water with yeast in it. And there's sugar in this water to feed the yeast, and that's all we'll be using today. And so before the video started, we had already prepared the yeast water, which you add lukewarm, warm water with yeast in it, about a tablespoon, and you let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And when it bubbles up like this lets you know that your yeast has been activated. Sugar has also been added in here, 2 tablespoons, and that activates the yeast. So this has been activated, as you can see, and it's ready to be used. Over here we have the bowl that we'll be using. And so for a simple like loaf of bread, you'll use 2.5 cups of flour to 3 cups of flour. I normally do 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, okay. And then after that, we use about a tablespoon of, a teaspoon of salt. My apologies. Because we have a measurement of a teaspoon of salt, and we just sprinkle that in there. And then we'll be using oil. You can use oil or butter, but we're using oil. And that'll be 2 tablespoons of oil.
Does it matter which kind of oil you use?
No, it doesn't. It's all your preference. Some people like different oils for flavoring purposes. Well, especially like butter. But it's all your preference.
So right now we're using vegetable oil. We normally use vegetable oils in our breads and everyday cooking.
And what I'll do is I'll just mix this in. And this is just really to get the salt mixed in really well. Get the oil. Get it mixed in evenly. So after that, I can then add my yeast water, which also has sugar in it. Now, usually I add the water little by little. It makes kneading for me a lot easier if you add water little by little. So you'll have to use the amount of water that you see fit, usually 3/4 cup to a cup. Sometimes when you go a little bit more flour, you may need a little more water, but I add it little by little. And then you just mix it in. We'll be back once this is all mixed up, and I'll show you what we do. Okay, we're back here, and I have been kneading this dough for about 7-8 minutes now. Normally, they recommend you knead the dough for about 10 minutes. So, as you can see, it's been kneaded for a while, so it's actually ready to be shaped. And normally when I get to this, I start folding my dough underneath each other. And I continue to knead it, and I'll flip the dough around and fold in the edges. Which is normally what helps you create and shape your dough to a nice bread loaf type of dough. Now, I will tell you this recipe, you can make your bread into bread rolls or, sandwich bread. Just your preference. So this dough has pretty much been kneaded enough. You can see it's starting to take shape and form. And if you can see, these are bread loaf pans right here. We have cast iron bread loaf pans. So you want it kind of long to fit inside of this pan. So yes, yes, ma'am. So this is the cast iron bread loaf pan. And it's about that size. And if you see, you want the bread, it's gonna start getting long, which is what you want if you're creating a loaf. You just keep folding it under till you get a nice soft dough. So this is about done and it's ready to go on to rising. So what I will do is I'll put it into a container and I'll let it sit about 30 minutes to an hour so it can rise. Once it has risen, I will knead it again just for a few minutes, and then you'll see me do the same thing, and then I'll put it in a bread loaf container. But usually the dough at that time is twice this size, and you can actually cut it in half and use it in one half here and let it finish rising. And we have another container that we can put the second half into and allow it to rise as well. So I'm going to now allow this kneaded dough to rise. And the reason for kneading it again after it has risen is because you get any other air bubbles that are left inside of here. As you can see, you can kind of see some air bubbles right now. So I'm going to put this aside and we'll be back to show you what it looks like once it has risen. Okay, we are back. So this is what it looks like after the dough rises. We've had it in this container and we leave it about 30 minutes to an hour. And as you can see, it doubles, sometimes even triple in size. So you can see kind of from the top of this container as well. It is all the way up to the top of this container that I have it in. It has risen. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take it out of this container and I will put it on this, I'll put it right here and we'll knead it a little bit more, just a couple minutes. And after that, I will let it rise a second time. And when it doubles in size in about a half an hour or so, I will then put it into my container. One, I have a bread pan, so I'll be using this bread pan. And then I also have another baking pan I will be using, one of these, and I will make them into rolls in this one. So in this one we'll have rolls, and this one will have a regular size bread loaf pan to put the bread in. So that's what we'll be doing next, but you can see how much it has risen. Now normally, sometimes it'd be a little less than this. It normally doubles in size. If you leave it a little bit longer, it will continue to rise, which is what it did here. So we just wanted to show you that. And we'll be back and we'll show you what it looks like once it's in our pans and how it looks just before we put it on the stove. Okay. Shalom. Begin. Okay, so before we end this video, I just wanted to show you how I did the rolls. I just break a piece off, knead it a bit, and I put them into my pan. Some people cut them off or they roll them a different way, but you can do it however you like. This dough has been kneaded already, so I don't do much kneading, just enough to create that, and I'll just put it in just like that. So we'll continue on with this until our pan is finished. But before we go, I would like to show you some rolls, if you come over here, that we already have on. So we have those in here, and then this is the bread that we have baking right there. So as you can see, it's rising, and we'll show you the finished product at the end. Well, thank you for tuning in, and if you have any other questions, just put it in the comment section. I hope you liked the video. Shalom.